Imagine this. You start a relationship or job feeling confident, full of life, with dreams and plans for your future. But slowly, almost without noticing, you begin to doubt yourself. You feel guilty for things that aren't your fault. You lose your spark, your laughter fades, and you don't even recognize yourself in the mirror anymore. This is not a dramatic story. This is what it feels like to live under the influence of a narcissist. Today, we're uncovering the impacts of narcissism. The kind of damage you can't always see right away, but it changes the way you think, feel, and even live your life. The first and most devastating cost of being close to a narcissist is the emotional toll. Narcissists have a way of making you feel like you're never enough. If you succeed, they'll downplay it. If you fail, they'll magnify it. Over time, you start to believe their voice more than your own. Think of Sarah, a woman who married a man she thought was charming and supportive. At first, he praised her intelligence and independence. But slowly, he began to criticize her clothes, her job, her friends. He told her she was overreacting whenever she tried to stand up for herself. Years later, Sarah doubted her own judgment so much, she couldn't make simple decisions without his approval. That's the silent work of emotional erosion. It doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly, until the confident person you once were feels like a shadow. Narcissists don't just hurt your feelings, they invade your mind. Gaslighting, making you doubt your reality, can leave you constantly questioning, did that really happen? Am I too sensitive? Maybe it's my fault. This cycle fuels anxiety and depression. And then there's something called the trauma bond, an unhealthy attachment that forms when periods of abuse are mixed with moments of affection. The narcissist may criticize you harshly one day, then show affection the next. This push and pull keeps you hooked, chasing the good days and ignoring the bad ones. It's like being addicted to hope. Hope that they'll change, hope that the person you first met will come back. But that cycle keeps you trapped. The damage doesn't stay inside your head. It spills into every area of your life. In friendships and family, narcissists often isolate you. They might turn you against others, or make you feel guilty for spending time with anyone but them. Slowly, your circle shrinks, and you find yourself alone, which makes you even more dependent on them. Now let's talk about one of the most common places people encounter narcissism, the workplace. Imagine you've worked hard on a project for weeks. You stayed late, solved problems, and came up with creative ideas. The big day comes, presentation time. You watch as your boss takes the floor, and instead of giving you credit, they present your work as their own. No mention of your efforts, no acknowledgement of your late nights. You're invisible. This is classic narcissistic behavior at work. Stealing credit, controlling narratives, and keeping employees feeling small. A narcissistic boss thrives on power and control. They create an environment where employees are constantly on edge, trying to please them but never quite succeeding. One day they might praise you in front of everyone, making you feel like a star. The next day, they tear you down over something minor, humiliating you in a meeting. This unpredictability keeps you hooked, always trying to win back their approval, always chasing their recognition. And the impact? Over time, you start doubting yourself. You hesitate before speaking up, worried they'll shoot you down. You second-guess your abilities, even though you were once confident. You may even begin to equate your worth with how this one person treats you. Some employees trapped under a narcissistic boss find themselves working harder and harder, hoping that one day the boss will finally recognize their value. But the truth is, that day rarely comes. Because for a narcissistic boss, it's never about you. It's always about maintaining their image, their status, their control. And here's the cruelest part. They often create competition between colleagues, pitting one employee against another. Why? Because a divided team is easier to control. If you're too busy comparing yourself to your coworkers, you're not questioning the toxic leadership at the top. The damage doesn't stop when you clock out. The stress follows you home. You might feel too drained to spend time with family, too anxious to sleep, or too insecure to pursue other opportunities. In the long run, this can chip away at your mental health, your career growth, and your sense of self. But let me be clear, this is not about your lack of ability or talent. It's about being caught in the storm of someone else's insecurity disguised as authority. Here's something we don't talk about enough. Narcissistic abuse doesn't just affect your mind, it affects your body in ways you might not even realize. When you live in constant stress, your nervous system goes into overdrive. It's called the fight or flight mode, the same survival response our ancestors used when facing danger in the wild. The problem is, with a narcissist in your life, you're stuck in that state all the time. Think about it. Every time you walk through the door, you're wondering, will they be in a good mood today, or will I be walking into a storm? Every time your phone buzzes, your heart races, because you don't know if it's going to be a sweet message, or an attack. Your body keeps score. Over time, this constant vigilance wears you down. You might start noticing headaches that come out of nowhere, tightness in your chest or shoulders that never seems to go away, stomach issues like nausea or bloating, because stress directly impacts your gut. And the most common one? Insomnia, lying awake at night replaying every argument, every manipulation, wishing you had said something different. But it doesn't stop there. Long-term exposure to this stress can lead to more serious issues. High blood pressure, weakened immune system, even heart problems. Some people develop chronic fatigue because their body is simply exhausted from being in a permanent state of alert. It's like running a marathon every single day without ever crossing the finish line. You're depleted, running on empty, and yet the narcissist makes you feel like you're too sensitive, or imagining things. And here's the cruel irony. While your body is screaming for rest, for safety, for peace, the narcissist often makes you believe that you're the problem. That your anxiety, your exhaustion, your health issues are flaws in you, when in reality, they are the direct result of living in a toxic environment. This is why breaking free isn't just about protecting your mind. It's literally about saving your body, your health, your future. Perhaps the most devastating cost of being around a narcissist isn't what you can see on the outside, the arguments, the stress, the sleepless nights. It's what happens quietly inside of you, the slow erosion of your identity. At first, you might not even notice it. When you enter a relationship with a narcissist, whether it's a partner, a boss, even a parent, you don't lose yourself all at once. It happens drop by drop, piece by piece. Maybe in the beginning you loved painting, or reading, or working out, or hanging out with friends. Those things made you feel alive, they were part of who you were. But the narcissist starts criticizing, mocking, or making you feel guilty about them. Why are you wasting time on that? Or, so you'd rather see your friends than me. Little by little, you put those passions aside, telling yourself, it's not worth the fight. And slowly, the things that made you start to disappear. Another part of this loss of identity comes from constantly questioning yourself. Narcissists are masters of gaslighting, making you doubt your own reality. Imagine being told day after day, you're too sensitive, you're overreacting, you don't remember correctly. After a while, you start thinking, maybe they're right. Maybe I am the problem. That doubt eats away at your self-confidence. Decisions that once felt easy now feel terrifying. You hesitate, second guess, look for permission. You stop trusting your own voice, your own instincts. And when you no longer trust yourself, you lose the core of who you are. For workers under a narcissistic boss, it might look like this. You used to be creative, confident, full of ideas. But now, every time you speak up, they shut you down or take credit for your work. Eventually, you stop speaking at all. You fade into the background, trying to survive instead of shine. For someone in a narcissistic relationship, it might mean looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person staring back. You used to laugh easily, now you feel numb. You used to know what you liked, what you wanted. Now, your choices revolve around what will keep them happy. And here's the most painful part. The narcissist often makes you believe that this hollow version of yourself is all you're capable of. They convince you that without them, you'd be nothing. That you're too weak, too flawed, too broken to stand on your own. But let me tell you something important. That's a lie. The real you is still there, under the layers of doubt, fear, and control. You haven't lost your identity, it's just been buried. And recognizing this loss is the first step to reclaiming it. Because the truth is, no matter how much a narcissist tries to erase you, your spark, that inner voice, that inner strength, it never really goes away. It waits for the moment you're ready to listen to it again. They don't want you to know, you are not broken. You are not worthless. You are someone who has been through manipulation, but you can rise again. So, what's the real hidden cost of narcissism? It's not just the arguments or the bad days. It's the way it seeps into your heart, mind, and body. It changes the way you see yourself, the way you relate to others, and even the way you dream about the future. But here's the good news. Damage is not the end of the story. Healing is possible, and in our next episode we'll dive into exactly that. Breaking free. How to heal and reclaim your life after a narcissist. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt drained or diminished by someone who constantly needed control? Share your story in the comments. You never know, your words might give strength to someone else who's listening. And if this episode spoke to you, hit like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Rise and Reflect for more healing conversations.